Hello, this is Ace Combat Fan here, and let's talk about Ace Combat 7's multiplayer mode. I know there are some people who like what we have, including myself, but also people don't like so much what is going on. But I think we can all agree that there is room for improvement. And in this video, I wanted to discuss some ideas that I had that I at least think would make for a better gameplay or experience in Ace Combat 7's multiplayer. By all means, these are just, my suggestions. I know Project Aces, they really like, the feedback from the players. So I'm here putting my opinions, and I hope you guys put your opinions too in the comments. I just guess that makes it easier. I'm putting some ideas. I don't really expect them to put all these ideas in the multiplayer in the future, but, if one or two just make it to the end, I guess I'll be happy with that. So, in a previous interview when I did with Connell, he said integrating co-op into Ace Combat 7's multiplayer mode would be hard because of how the game is made or how it was built. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check my interview with him that I did right here. So at least my interpretation from that interview was that integrating the artificial intelligence into a multiplayer environment would be something that wasn't planned in the beginning and hence very technically difficult. So here are some ideas that they could still improve the multiplayer even without adding co-op, which would still be the best idea in my opinion, if it was possible. So first, before we introduce new things, let's fix what we have. So in the multiplayer where we have Battle Royale, which is free for all, and the Team Deathmatch, I think the QAMs are a little bit too powerful. I've just played recently F22 with the fully maxed out QAMs with parts, and I gotta admit, it doesn't take much skill at all to fire them. You just get close to the enemy target and you fire irrespective of the angle between you and the enemy, so you can fire totally not pointing to your enemy, and your missile is gonna track. The thing is, you're probably gonna miss the first pass, but then if you put the parts to increase the flight distance, you can get 3 hit attempts with the same missile, which means one missile is worth 3 missiles, and you can just basically spam until your enemy runs out of energy, and then you're gonna get him. I played 2 matches, I finished in first place, and the 2 matches, it really made me feel ashamed at the end. It's really bad. So I think there's this imbalancing, and I don't think it's the QAAM's fault itself, the missile. I know it's supposed to be very quick maneuvering missile. That's what its strength is. But I just think the unfair thing about it is that if you put the parts with a flight distance, it can keep circling your target for like a couple times. And if you throw more than one missile, there's more of them. So it's not like one missile, it's one shot. It's one missile, it's 3 attempts. That's what I think it's the problem. The main problem is the multiple attempts. I think if you played online, you know what I'm talking about, because it just gets crazy. And the enemies can just throw so many missiles at you, one of them is gonna hit you because there's just so many of them. So I think my idea here would be, try to decrease that part, Project Aces, with the flight distance. I don't think it's fair that your missile, if it misses, it still has enough fuel to go around the target, try to hit one more time, and then go around the target, try to hit one more time again. I think the problem is not the QAM itself, but the parts that you equip with it that make it last so long time in the air. Another, I'd say, balancing would be for the EML. Now, I am an EML user. I like the gun. Unlike the QAM, it actually takes some skill to aim and all. But I think sometimes you hit with the EML without not being accurate. Like in some cases, I get so close to the enemy and I fire at them, but I'm not really pointing at the enemy, just close enough that I'm still able to get the enemy. I don't mind the concept of being one shot, one kill, because you can add the parts with that. That makes sense. Because I think maybe decrease a little bit the hitbox, the what they call the algorithm for hitting the enemies, to make it a little bit more skill based. And that's what I have so far for the balancing. I think most people will agree with me with the QAMs and their F22s. They just kind of ruin, the upper level matches. On the other hand, I think one of the things that could also be improved, just have more of a map selection. Right now we have 5 maps currently, but you can count 6 because in Yanchi Valley you have the morning version and the night version. But I think we definitely need some more maps. I was quite surprised that we didn't get Salatapura, which appears in the game's campaign like 3 times in 3 different missions, which is like the main part of the game, the main focus of the space elevator. But we don't have a multiplayer map to dogfight around the space elevator, which I think would be really interesting because Harley wouldn't like this idea, but you can use the space elevator to block the missiles from hitting you. So, just fly close to it or fly underneath the base. I think that would make some very interesting dogfights, and that would possibly be my favorite map for the multiplayer. But other than that, I think, we already have so many maps in the base game that we only have 5 to play on online. So I think, if they could add some more maps that are already in the game, like Farbunti, I think would make a great map. Just because it's Farbunti, the nostalgic feels from Ace Combat 4, and it looks like a very nice match. You can even go through the buildings and do all the crazy stuff with dogfighting around there. So definitely adding more maps would be good because they already have the maps in the game. And now let's get to some other modes that I thought would be interesting to add. And again, these modes, they don't even include artificial intelligence because I don't know how that work out. Again, I don't know how the game is made. I'm not a game developer. I don't know. So I'm just guessing that this would be easy to add on the game, okay? Please don't judge. I'm not a developer. So my first suggestion is a free flight mode. Like, just play with your friends for like unlimited time. I know some people like doing formation flights, myself included. And 5 minutes it's not enough. So maybe like, put a session like 30 minutes where you can enable or disable your weaponry. And just let people have fun with it. It's actually fun. I think this would be really easy to add, because you're just creating a room. There you go. That's it. So that's my first idea. The second idea, to make the team deathmatch or also the battle royale or free for all matches more interesting, there could be like an altitude restriction. I just think I'm the type of person who likes dogfighting at low altitude just because it's more intense, it's more fun, especially at Yanchi Valley. It's a very fun place. So I think, that would help a little bit with the endless turn fights that happen in high altitude because there's no terrain there. But if you go at low altitude, things get more interesting. And again, I think they could make an optional rule where you say, the flight ceiling for this dogfight is at 2,000 feet or something like that. And I don't know, it could go so far, as if you're above that altitude, your fire control system gets locked, so you can't fire like, in mission 5, or you could just get destroyed. And we actually have a canon reason to get destroyed. Like Stonehenge, just pretend Stonehenge is firing, and then everyone's forced to, fight at low altitude. I just think that would be interesting. Now, in regards to other modes that I would like to see, that I think is really interesting, would be a racing mode to Ace Combat 7. I've actually tried this a little bit before on my previous streams, especially in Anchorhead Bay. Everything that happens is in Anchorhead Bay. But you try to race with your friends in a predetermined course. We did, in the tunnel and through the highway, and it was actually very fun. It takes skill, and it's very straightforward concept for new players, especially the whole talk about esports and Ace Combat, which is a topic for another video. But it's a very straightforward concept. Some people don't like how the team deathmatch and works or the battle royale works, but racing it could be a potential new mode for the game. And that could be a track, like go from point A to point B of the map, following all these little check places like portals. You'd fly through the portal and like go to next one, or it could be even circuit. So you do a lap, do another lap, and whoever finishes first obviously wins. And then for this kind of race mode, I suppose you would have weapons disabled because you probably can kill people easily because you know where they're going to. But I don't know, maybe make it optional, weapons on or off. And I have actually some good news. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I ended up posting a video on my Twitter. The racing match that I did playing with my friends online, which is basically, it doesn't work very well because I was playing team deathmatch, and if you die, you have to respawn in a completely different place of the map, so you have to come back to the racing track. So it's not really optimized for it. But I posted on Twitter, and that was my most popular tweet of all time. I kid you not, I couldn't believe it. I got like over 1,000 likes, and I'm not here to brag, but what I'm trying to say is people really enjoyed the concept. That tweet was very popular in Japan. And the funny thing is, even some people from Project Aces, were interested. Like, that looks like a cool idea. Maybe it could work. That's new stuff. So, of course, it doesn't mean that they're going to do it in the next update of the game or whatever. But they are aware of the possibility. And from my perspective, I've played it. It's awesome. A racing mode, I think it could go really well. I did some races in Anchorhead Bay. It's very nice, so you fly under the highway, fly through the bridge or the tunnel, and I think that would work really well on urban maps. I could definitely see a circuit, happening in Farbanti, and another one in Saltapura with the space elevator, the tunnel flights, and just flying through the skyscrapers. You put like some portals there. I think that would be really fun, and I'm totally not stealing War Thunder's idea. Just it really is a fun type of mode that at least I think. And another thing related to that, another idea would be ring battles. Remember them, the ring battles from Ace Combat Infinity? Well, since you're gonna add the portals, at least I hope, for the race modes, I guess the ring battles is kind of the same thing, because you have to fly through the rings, and which team captures the most rings, and by the end of the match wins. And I personally like that in Infinity. And it doesn't require enemy AI, so at least I suppose it's it's easy to implement in the game. And another idea that I had was capture the flag. Basically, you'd have Team A, Team B. Each one of them would have a base in opposite points of the map. And I guess one plane would have to fly through like a little hangar or something to capture the flag and try to come back to their own base while the other team is gonna be trying to kill them. So I don't know. It's another idea. Other than, the dogfights in tunnels. That would require making some more tunnels in the game, but that's maybe, I don't know. I'll see about that later. But these are my ideas. These are things that, little improvements that could be made to Ace Combat 7's multiplayer mode to try to keep the game more alive and more fun. I'll say, I personally I have fun on the current multiplayer in some matches, with the exception of the QAAM spam at the end there. But I think these, more modes would not add to a nice variety in the game, and at least I hope they are, easy to be implemented, and I think they can just be a lot of fun. And, with the prospects of an Ace Combat Esports League, I think, the more modes the better, because one of the things it's hard for new players just getting to the mindset of what's going on in this dogfight. Like, if you make a race mode, it's very straightforward. Just pass through the portals, whoever gets first wins. Like, it's simple, right? But anyway, these are my ideas that I think could be used to improve Ace Combat 7's multiplayer. I know Project Aces cares a lot about feedback, so here's my part, and I'll leave that to you now, guys. Please let me know in the comments what you think, what your ideas are, what do you think what I said works, what do you think that I said it doesn't work, if you have any ideas of other modes, and that's it. Just want to thank you for staying with me this far. Hope you have enjoyed the ideas, and I hope I can see at least one of them in the future, or one that you guys submit. So thank you much guys for watching. Let me know your comments, suggestions in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time.